Hey, what's up, and welcome to my corner of the internet. Alright, so boom, it's finally the time to talk about my top 5. My top 5 consists of anime I fell in love with, I can't get enough of, and to be honest, these are animes that have influenced my life, that have influenced me as a person, that have influenced a lot of my choices, and a lot of the ethos and premises that come within these animes still contribute to my choices now. So when I talk about a top 5, it has great storytelling, it has great arcs, it has great characters, and the emotional intelligence that comes with these animes, and how it's made me think and wonder about my own life, and it has showcased the beauty of the genre. I feel like my top 5 really gives you a good showcase of what anime has to offer the world, and I feel like if I give someone who's ready to just sit down and really venture through these animes, they'll get the same things that I got. These animes have helped change me as a person. These animes have helped build me to where I am today, and I can only thank them, and I'm super happy I get to experience them, and I might even rewatch all of these, even though some of these are like super long. But regardless, it's time to start with 5. Five is obviously One Piece. If you saw my past video, you can tell I already rate One Piece super high, and One Piece has its spot for a reason. You can't tell me anything about One Piece. This story is filled with so much love. The imagination is just immaculate. This is one of those stories that I believe is one of the greatest to ever be told. One thing I enjoy about One Piece is the most important part about it is the adventure, the thrill, and how much it sneaks in so many different themes within the world around us. One Piece is an emotional roller coaster that scares us, and at times it's magnificent, and what we see is written into the show. I think One Piece is one of those shows that I genuinely feel bad if you have not experienced this show. I get that it can be too long, 900 episodes of anime, I get that, but I feel like you're really missing out if you don't venture into it. And I also believe, slight caveat, if you really want to get into One Piece, just read the manga all the way to like 400 and I don't know, that's around the Marineford arc. Once you get there, just start watching the anime, and then I think you'll pretty much be golden. What I enjoy most about One Piece is I enjoy the simplicity of the story, I enjoy the ethos, I enjoy the understanding of piracy and how it melds in between our world. I love the power system. I enjoy so many aspects of One Piece, and One Piece is probably one of the most satisfying animes. There is no character that so far has been overhyped and just did not deliver. Every single character that we see and we saw maybe at the beginning is completely where they need to be, and I'm only excited for more and more characters. And a lot of the mysteries with One Piece are captivating me to this days. Like at least once a month I see a video of someone trying to break down what Shanks is towards the story, and I am absolutely overjoyed. And all these videos about Joy Boy, all these things that give One Piece is magnificence. And one other underrated piece about One Piece, pun intended, One Piece is about a dream and a story that is being fulfilled. One Piece never looks out of character. It never loses its aesthetic. It never loses what makes One Piece One Piece. It is solid, and I think it's a story that I want my kids to know. Now next up is one that is kind of talked about in not the greatest of lights, but this story has to be in my top 5 because what it did as it impacted me as a teenager. And Black Lagoon is one such story where it doesn't do a lot aesthetically, it's not even the greatest visually, but I think this story has such a solid and very direct way of presenting itself that I feel like this story is very underrated. And once you watch it and you take some time with what it's saying and what it's telling you in each episode and the intricacies of the world, you find that this is a magnificent story that did so much with so little and has a very beautiful simplicity that can rival some of the greats. I'm not one of those people that attributes length to greatness. I don't mind something being 12 episodes, but those 12 episodes have to be great. I'm not necessarily always a fan of long anime. I just am a fan of a good story. And say, for instance, if a story is longer because it's so great, I don't mind that because it's very important and it doesn't feel satisfying when a story does not get to its point. But Black Lagoon within 24 episodes does that, and it gives you philosophy, it gives you the worlds of people, it gives you emotion, it gives you real people, real life, and it feels so adjacent to what life is for me. And most importantly, this anime is about decisions. It's about the light and the dark and the nuances of gray, and it also has a very solid aesthetic. And within that aesthetic, it's action, gore, it's violence, it's so many backward and very grotesque things are being showcased within this anime. But this anime is solid in its message about you needing to live, about having your own freedom, and why our main character decided to live this life and how he's still unsure about who he wants to be within his new life. And that is very understated. And as a late teenager, when I absorbed this story into my spirit, it made me want to go outside and go live my life and deal with the repercussions of my choices. And most importantly, I enjoy the dialogue between Rock and Revy because it's so interesting to see how Rock is still unsure even though he makes a decision, and Revy is so jealous and angry at him because he has had the opportunity to live a life that is normal, and Revy wants that. And Rock represents an opportunity for Revy to lose that psychopathic nature and to actually care and have emotions and to actually give a fuck about something. And that's very important. And the character development within the story is incredible, but I feel like it should get another season. I really want this show to be revived because it was going somewhere towards the end of the second season, and I am so intrigued to see where it goes. And that's why it's number 4.
大丈夫。痛みはないよ。
Now next up is D Gray Man. This story is where a good bit of, if I talk to someone and they know of this anime, it's not rated that high. It's one of those animes that I totally get in trouble for because I love this anime and it has one of those arcs that is really important to anime. One Piece has it, Black Lagoon has it within the entire story, but D Gray Man has one arc that I think is one of the most incredible, and a lot of shonen fail to have this depth within a show. And I don't necessarily mean it has to be emotional to be a great show. I just mean it has to feel human, and D Gray Man is a very much so human show. Even though with the powers and the Akuma and so many different things, the story is tugging at the heartstrings, and it's incredible how desperate the show feels from start to finish. And D Gray Man is visually beautiful. There is no anime that can rival how aesthetically pleasing it is, and I think it can rival Bleach in some of its ethos and its fashion choices, and it's very simple in the way it showcases that very gothic aesthetic, and boy did I want it to dress like Alan Walker once he hits that transformation. Some of these outfits are so anime down to the socks, but I love everything about it. I love how it showcases itself. I love the power. I love the development. I love innocence. I love everything about D Gray Man, regardless of the health issues that comes with the author and how it's released ever so often. Every 3 months or so, roughly, you get a new manga chapter. Sometimes it's long, sometimes it's short. I really want this show to be revived. I feel like this show was hitting its stride, and then all the trouble that came with being a mangaka and all these other things. And I really wish the best for the artist that created it. I really wish the best for the publications that work with it and whatnot. I really just love D. Gray Man, and I feel like a lot of people should give this show a chance even though it's not finished. And the reason why I enjoy D. Gray Man so much is because it's one of those animes that survived during the era of the big three. And a lot of people, we didn't really pay attention to anime outside of the big three unless you were really just digging through anime and you were just watching different episodes week to week to week when they were released, and you got it how you got it. You know the vibes. I just feel like D. Gray Man is a relic that should not be forgotten. So now here we are at another unfinished anime, and Hunter x Hunter is one such very controversial anime, and hiatus x hiatus, you know that joke. Hunter x Hunter is interchanged between Yu Yu Hakusho within my top 5 because I feel like without Yu Yu Hakusho you don't get Hunter x Hunter, which is very obvious because same author, whatever. Togashi, you love him, I love him, he's one of the greatest. The reason why I interchange them is because Yu Yu Hakusho explored a lot of different ideas that can come within a shonen, and I think it was fully explored and played with masterfully within Hunter x Hunter, and I just interchanged them. But right now Hunter x Hunter is where my heart lies. I revisit it the most, even though I've read Yu Yu Hakusho and I've watched all of Yu Yu Hakusho at least multiple times. But Hunter x Hunter is a show that defines a generation. I feel like Hunter x Hunter is going to be heralded as one of the best to ever be created, and it has to go somewhere, regardless of if it's finished or if it's not finished. Like, as you can tell, I rate this very high. But just like One Piece, Hunter x Hunter has a very solid aesthetic, and the story is so surprising and beautiful, and it flows so greatly. It's probably one of the greatest storytellings ever, and it has that arc that everyone knows, and if you don't know it, you're missing out on anime history, and you can't tell me nothing about the Chimera Ant arc. Like, I'm sorry, bro. That arc is so incredible and beautifully written, and the dichotomy of Meruem and Gon, one losing humanity, another gaining humanity. There is so much in that arc, and let's not even talk about the manga art style. Like, there's some panels that Togashi created that are so beautiful and exquisite, and he did it with only lines. Like, you don't realize, as someone who loves art and who creates art himself, to be able to create such beauty with just line work is godly at most. Like, oh my god. Hunter x Hunter teaches us about adventure, dealing with life and consequences, achieving our goals, and dealing with what is out there and what comes with living a life filled with adventure. And it has a lot of harsh and cruel realities. Hunter x Hunter is deceptively deep, and it can be cataclysmic at times. It can be apocalyptic in some of its ethos and some of its darker tones. And as we venture more and more into the story, the anime gets pretty dark and touches on some very unique and very human aspects. Like, wow, like when Netero was dying, he touched on some ideas and certain aspects of like real modern life that is pretty dark. Like, some of that stuff is like dark when you really think about humans as a whole and our ideas and how we portray ourselves out there in the world. But regardless, Hunter x Hunter is a story that I feel like you should watch, and you should take it for what it is. You should appreciate it for where it's at. And it's another anime that I feel like should never be forgotten.
いくら煙吹かそうが、いくらじって振り回そうが、俺たちが真似できるこっちゃねえってか。
野郎は野郎のまんま死んでった。最後まで男を通して、俺なんぞのために。
Alright, so it's obvious my number one was going to be Gintama. I don't know if you were expecting something else, but it's pretty obvious. Gintama is one anime that gets so much respect and love, but it's in such a weird niche and it's so hard to recommend to people. But I feel like once you understand and you give yourself time with this anime, I feel like this is the one true anime that if you give it 30 episodes, you will love it after. Like, it's the one anime that I'm like, okay, you need to give it time. You need to just sit there and sit with the show and sit what it's trying to do and appreciate the jokes, appreciate the humor, because that'll make you appreciate the arcs where it gets serious, the drama, the story, and where we begin to learn about our main characters and we get to appreciate the world, because Gintama is such a difficult anime to recommend, but it is so rewarding within its story, its arcs, and it does have that arc that I'm just like, wow, this is incredible storytelling within the anime genre. Gintama influenced me because the ethos of the show is this one guy literally just wants to have a good time with his friends. That's literally it. Isn't that amazing? The show is based on someone just wanting to have a good time with his friends, and he wants to be just a lazy, no good, handy jack of all trades, and he just wants to do it with all his friends and all his loved ones, and he wants to protect the people around him, and the world just keeps getting in the way of that, and he meddles in other people's lives and stuff like that because he wants everyone to smile and be happy, and he wants to appreciate the goodness within life. Gintama influenced me with the way it kept a solid aesthetics. It had so many good and funny jokes. The story just rewards you. It's so satisfying to appreciate the jokes, and then a couple episodes later, we're seeing some of the bloodiest fights ever. There's some fights that are never going to be as satisfying as what Gintama achieved with some of its violence. It's grotesque, it's brutal, it's savage at times. Gintama is just an amazing show that was able to juggle so many aspects, and it was so unique. Gintama is one anime that is so unique, and it showcases how beautiful anime can be, and I can't stress this enough. And I'm going to rewatch Gintama because I love it to death. This story, the arcs, the way characters die, the way moments happen, the way we try to understand the reasons for things, all of it is so important to how beautiful this story is, and I just have it at number one, and it has never moved. Ever since I watched Gintama and finished it, it has stayed at number one so far, and it has not moved. Nothing can dethrone Gintama for me. Gintama is also one of those stories that also influenced me as a person. And I've said that before, but I really mean it influenced me because it made me appreciate not taking life so seriously and appreciating the good moments life has to offer. And this show is filled with so much humanity and hope, and Gintoki represents that. And I think that's so beautiful, and this story is filled with so much love and is aesthetically pleasing, and it has so much randomness that just feels like Gintama. It has a solid voice. There's nothing out of pocket with how Gintama is, and there's nothing out of place within this anime, and that's why it's number one, and I love it dearly. And if you have never watched Gintama or you haven't seen my video on it, please go watch it. And regardless, that is my top 10. I hope you liked it. I hope you enjoyed my reasons for it. And if you haven't seen any of these, please go venture down and please just go watch it. Anyway, that'll be it for the video. Thank you for watching, and please like, comment, and subscribe, and have a great day.